name's Justin Hughey, and I'm running for NEA Director. Now, our union is only as strong as the involvement of its membership, so your vote does matter. The NEA Director sits on the Board of Directors, and I respectfully disagree with the Board's decision to appoint the President, the Vice President, and the Secretary to do all of the negotiations on our last contract. I do feel the Negotiations Committee should have been able to give input and insight. I believe in the democratic process. Currently, as an HSTA member, I'm on the Government Relations Committee. I am the Obama NEA designee for his reelection. I've been working with networking with teachers to work with the Obama executive director for the reelection campaign. I've passed 12 items of legislation here at our state conventions, and this year I also was the one that found out that the Department of Ed changed the staffing allocation for special ed teachers without consent and confer of the union, which looks like it means, in my opinion, Felix has been eviscerated, and it's going to result in a lot of teachers losing their jobs next year. And so I pushed the HSTA for a grievance, and hopefully that'll stop it. Now, but I really do feel that in order for HSTA to be strong, that we need to be more involved with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I'm on the Democratic State Central Committee, and the Democratic Party has a platform of education, and so when Democrats step out of line, we can call them out on it, and so that's exactly what I did. I did put on the agenda that Neil Abercrombie should be following collective bargaining laws as a teacher, as an individual, and I did have the Democratic Party submit testimony against Roy Takumi's end tenure bill that would have ended tenure, and currently have been giving updates monthly to the Labor Caucus. Now, with the NEA, your NEA director should really be someone that not only shows you how to pass legislation at the state convention, but is also doing it. And I have been like the only person consistently that has been doing that for the past 5 years. I've passed 6 items of legislation at the NEA convention, and it's a rush. It's a little spooky. You get up there in front of 8,000 to 13,000 people, and they're all voting you down or voting you up. I mean, it's really a hornet's nest of democracy going on. But I don't go for NEA. I don't go to the NEA convention for the free flight. I go to help NEA and HSTA be a progressive asset of educational change. Now, it wasn't until last year that I was actually elected as a state delegate. So most of the time of the past 5 years, I've gone on the majority of my own dime. Now, my best progressive efforts were getting NEA to oppose the Citizens United Supreme Court ruling that allowed corporations to spend unlimited amounts of money on political campaigns. Bribery at its highest level. If we can't compete with transnational corporations, millions, and now they can spend even billions of dollars on bribing our politicians. Even NEA executive board was originally against my legislative amendments based on the philosophy that NEA was a corporation, but it wasn't until the damage done by the Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker that they fully understood the ramifications of the Citizens United ruling that changed our political landscape forever. We are under attack like never before, and I just feel that it is very important for us to be electing the most effective teacher advocates to leadership positions. My name's Justin Hughey, and I humbly ask for your vote for NEA Director. Now, I'm going to play a little clip here of 2 years ago I passed a resolution in the legislature on getting Hawaii to be against the Citizens United Court ruling. It was amazing. I was on Tom Hartman's radio show. He's got 3 million viewers, so feel free to listen.
Am I pronouncing it right, Justin? Yeah, Hughey. Yeah. Hughey. Justin Justin Hughey. And Justin, you have accomplished something extraordinary in the state of Hawaii. You got a resolution before the Hawaiian legislature, and they actually passed this thing. Tell us about this.
Well, I read your book on equal protection and tried first passing a legislative amendment opposing corporate personhood with at the NA conference in San Diego this summer and failed. But I wrote it up. No, I was listening to your show, and you had said that Oregon had passed a resolution on it, and I called up Oregon and talked to Richard Harrisay, and he sent me the resolution and some added info, and then I turned it into a resolution here. I am on the Democratic Party State Central Committee and presented it to them, and it was actually on the agenda about 3 weeks after the Citizens United case. So everybody was really impressed that we could act so quickly on it. And it was sent up to the executive board. They wanted to do some editing on the resolution, and then it was passed by our Democratic Party State Central Committee. Then our chair sent it took it over to the legislature and put it into the House and Senate as a resolution. And it passed. It passed the Judiciary Committee with no nay votes, and then it passed in the Senate. And
this is a message to your two senators and your one member of Congress. And let me just share from the language of this. Whereas free speech is a right exclusive to natural persons recognized and protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution. Whereas corporations are not natural persons but rather legal entities granted conditional rights by society. Whereas the legislature of the state of Hawaii has grave concerns regarding the implications of the Supreme Court decision in Citizens United. Whereas I'm abbreviating parts of this. Whereas this decision threatens to invalidate the legislative deliberations of Congress in the state. Whereas the opinion of 4 dissenting justices noted that corporations have certain privileges not enjoyed by natural persons, such as limited liability, perpetual life, favorable treatment of their accumulation and distribution of assets, which financially enables them to overwhelm individual natural persons in the political process, now therefore be resolved by the representatives of the legislature of the state of Hawaii, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that the U.S. Congress, that this legislature respectfully requests that the U.S. Congress propose and send to the states for ratification a constitutional amendment to clarify the distinction between natural persons, the rights of natural persons, and the rights of corporations, thereby preserving the power of Congress and the states to place limits on the ability of corporations to influence the outcome of elections. Brilliant, Justin. Brilliant job.
Yeah, and a lot of other organizations just jumped all over this. Common Cause, Voter Owned Hawaii, Americans for Democratic Action, Hawaii Chapter, Progressive Dems, and then a really strong support by the Democratic Party of Hawaii. So it just caught on fire.
That's absolutely marvelous, and it's all because you showed up. You showed up at the Democratic Party and said, "Hi, I'm here. How can I help out?" Do I have that right?
Yeah, I mean that's a real message here. Is I'm a teacher, and I work nights at a sushi restaurant, and if a teacher working a second job can pass legislation against corporate personhood, anybody can, and everybody should. Everybody should try. And I heard Move On is they're trying to go national with this today. They're doing a lot of meetings on how to push back against corporate America, and people just need to check out this resolution and present it to go to your district chair meeting or go to your county convention or your Democratic Party convention and get that conversation started, because if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, and well, maybe not, but if you can do it, most people can. A lot of people can do it. Anybody who wants to show up and have some enthusiasm for this thing, and we'll put a link to it. It's capital.hawaii.gov/sessions2. 2010. We'll put a link to it on our homepage at tomhartman.com, so it's easy for our listeners to find. In fact, Louise tells me the link is already up. We're talking with Justin Hughey, who successfully got the legislature of the state of Hawaii to petition the federal government to make clear the distinction between natural and artificial persons. Good on you, Justin. Good on you. I salute you. Thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome. Up